The morning started like any other aboard the U.S. Defiant. Captain Robert Hayes stood on the bridge, sipping his coffee and watching Earth grow smaller in the view screen. The experimental battleship was on its maiden voyage, testing new weapons systems that the brass hoped would revolutionize space warfare. If only they knew how soon those weapons would be needed. Captain, unknown signals approaching from Sector 7. Officer Patricia Reynolds's voice cut through the quiet bridge. Her hands flew across the control panel as multiple red dots appeared on the main screen. Hayes set down his coffee. "Show me." The view changed to reveal 5 massive ships emerging from what looked like tiers in space itself. Each vessel was easily 3 times the size of the Defiant, their hulls gleaming with an odd purple metal no one had seen before. "Sir, they're broadcasting something," Communications Officer Ben Wilson reported. Well, you should hear this." A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English. "Primitive species of Earth, this is Commander Kex of the Zentari Empire. Your solar system lies within our expansion zone. Surrender now and accept our rule, or face immediate destruction. You have 10 minutes to comply." Hayes looked around his bridge. The crew of 30 was the best Earth had to offer, but they'd never faced anything like this. "Send word to Earth Defense Command, and get me everything we have on those ships' capabilities." "Sir, their energy readings are off the charts," Rachel Martinez, the science officer, reported. "Their weapons systems, I've never seen anything like this." The next 8 minutes were a blur of activity. Earth Defense Command ordered all available ships to battle stations, but the Defiant was the only vessel close enough to engage immediately. Hayes knew waiting for backup wasn't an option. "They're charging weapons," Reynolds shouted. Multiple targeting locks detected. Hayes gripped his chair. "All hands to battle stations. Load the railguns and bring shields to maximum. We're not going down without a fight." The first blast from the alien ships lit up space like a new sun. The Defiant's shields held, but barely. Return fire from Earth's conventional weapons seemed to bounce off the alien shields like rain off a window. "Sir, the railguns are having a small effect," Martinez called out. Their shields weakened slightly with each impact. Before Hayes could respond, 3 more Earth ships arrived. The Churchill, the Yamamoto, and the Gandhi. The space around Earth's orbit erupted into chaos as energy weapons and kinetic rounds crisscrossed the void. The Defiant shook violently as another hit connected. "Shields at 30%, Reynolds reported. "We can't take much more of this." Hayes watched as the Gandhi exploded, torn apart by the alien weapons. The Churchill was next, its hull splitting like paper. But something caught his eye. Where the Defiant's railgun rounds had hit, the alien shields flickered differently. "Target their shield generators with concentrated railgun fire," Hayes ordered. "All power to forward shields." The gamble paid off. After 3 direct hits, one of the alien ship's shields failed completely. The next barrage of kinetic rounds tore through its hull, causing a chain reaction that ripped the massive vessel apart. The remaining Zentari ships pulled back, clearly surprised by the loss of their companion. The voice of Commander Kex returned, but this time it held a note of rage. "You primitive vermin. You dare to resist. This is only the beginning. The full might of the Zentari Empire will crush your pathetic world." As the alien ships retreated through their spatial tiers, Hayes surveyed the damage. Earth had lost 2 ships, with the Yamamoto badly damaged. But they'd destroyed 1 alien vessel and forced the others to retreat, something the Zentari clearly hadn't expected. "Send word to command," Hayes ordered. "Tell them we found a weakness, and tell engineering to start working on improving those railguns. Something tells me we're going to need them." The battle was over, but Hayes knew the war had just begun. Humanity had bloodied the nose of an advanced alien empire, and the galaxy was about to learn that primitive didn't mean defenseless. Engineer Lisa Cooper hadn't slept in 36 hours. The battle with the Zentari ships left her with mountains of data to analyze, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something important. The U.S. Defiant's engineering bay was quiet at 300 hours, filled only with the hum of machinery and the soft glow of holographic displays. "There has to be a pattern," she muttered, rewatching the footage of their railgun impacts for the 100th time. That's when she saw it. Something so simple it seemed impossible no one had noticed before. "Captain Hayes to engineering, immediately," she called over the comm system. Within minutes, Hayes arrived, looking as tired as she felt. "This better be good, Cooper," he said, but the slight smile showed he trusted her judgment. "Watch this," she said, pulling up the enhanced footage. "See how the Zentari shields react to our railgun rounds. They're designed to disperse energy weapons, plasma, lasers, particle beams, but kinetic impacts, they actually resonate at a specific frequency." Hayes leaned closer. "In English, Cooper, their shields are like a drum, sir. Hit them right, and they vibrate themselves apart. Our primitive weapons might be the perfect counter to their advanced technology. We just need to modify the railguns to fire at exactly the right speed and pattern." The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. The Defiant's engineering crew worked nonstop, modifying their main weapons while reports came in of more Zentari ships appearing at the edge of the solar system. Earth's other ships began the modifications too, but the Defiant, being experimental, had the most advanced railgun systems. Cooper's team managed to triple the firing rate and adjust the magnetic acceleration to hit the exact resonance frequency she'd discovered. "Sir," Cooper called to Hayes on the bridge, "the modifications are ready, but there's a catch. We need to get closer to their ships than normal combat range. The resonance effect weakens with distance." Hayes nodded grimly. "Close combat with ships 3 times our size. Just another day at the office." The alert klaxons blared before he could say more. 4 Zentari battleships had jumped into Earth orbit, their weapons already charging. "All hands to battle stations," Hayes ordered. "Cooper, this is your show. Tell me where you need us." The Defiant accelerated toward the alien fleet, dodging energy blasts that could have vaporized a small city. Other Earth ships provided covering fire, but everyone knew the real test would be Cooper's modifications. 5,000 kilometers. Reynolds called out. 4,000. "Hold steady," Cooper said, her eyes fixed on the readings. "We need 3,000 for maximum effect." The ship shuddered as a glancing blow struck their shields. 2 minutes to shield failure. Someone shouted. "Now," Cooper yelled when they hit the perfect range. "Fire everything." The modified railguns roared to life. The first salvo struck the nearest Zentari ship's shields, and this time the effect was dramatic. The shield bubble visibly rippled, its purple energy field fluctuating wildly. "Again," Hayes ordered. The second barrage hit the same spot. The alien shield collapsed completely, followed by the ship's hull breaching in multiple places. The massive vessel listed to one side, its weapons going dark. The other Zentari ships tried to adjust their shield frequencies, but Cooper's calculations had been perfect. One by one, their defenses failed against the precisely tuned kinetic impacts. When the battle ended, all 4 enemy ships were either destroyed or disabled. The bridge crew cheered, but Cooper was already thinking ahead, making notes on her tablet. "Their shields will adapt," she told Hayes. "But now we know their weakness. Humanity's outdated technology just became our greatest asset." Hayes smiled. "Good work, Cooper. Get some sleep. Something tells me we're going to need a lot more modifications before this war is over." As Cooper finally headed to her quarters, she couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones, even against an advanced alien empire. Operation Thunderstrike began at dawn Earth time. The U.S. Defiant led a fleet of 20 Earth ships toward Mars, where the Zentari had established their forward base. Captain Hayes stood at the helm, watching the red planet grow larger on the view screen. "All ships report ready, sir," First Officer Reynolds announced. "Modified railguns charged and targeting systems aligned." Hayes nodded. Send the signal. Execute attack pattern Delta. The Earth fleet split into 3 groups, approaching the Centauri base from different angles. The alien empire had positioned 30 ships around Mars, clearly not expecting humanity to launch an offensive so soon. They're scrambling their fighters, Rachel Martinez reported from her science station, reading unusual energy signatures from their new shield configurations. Engineer Cooper's voice came over the comm. They've adapted their shields, just as we predicted, initiating frequency shift protocols now. The Defiance railguns have been upgraded again, now capable of changing their impact frequency mid-battle. As the first Centauri ships opened fire, the Earth fleet responded with a devastating barrage of kinetic rounds. Direct hits on targets 3 and 7. Reynolds called out. Their new shields are holding, but showing stress patterns. Hayes watched as the battle unfolded. The Centauri's superior technology gave them incredible firepower, but they weren't prepared for humanity's rapid adaptation. Every time they adjusted their shields, Cooper's systems would scan and recalibrate. Sir, the Centauri are launching something new. Martinez's voice was urgent. Energy readings off the scale. A massive beam of purple energy shot from the largest Centauri vessel, cutting one of Earth's ships in half. But the attack left the alien ship's shields weakened for a crucial few seconds. All ships, concentrate fire on their flagship. Hayes ordered. Pattern Omega-3. 20 sets of railguns fired simultaneously, their rounds hitting in a precise sequence that created a cascading resonance effect. The Centauri flagship's shields collapsed completely, and the follow-up barrage tore through its hull like paper. The loss of their flagship threw the Centauri into chaos. Their rigid command structure hadn't prepared them for losing senior officers mid-battle. Earth's ships pressed the advantage, picking off enemy vessels one by one. Sir, they're retreating, Reynolds announced as the remaining Centauri ships started jumping away. We've won. But Hayes noticed something on his tactical display. Martinez scanned the Martian surface. Those energy readings. Confirmed, sir, she replied grimly. They left something behind. Some kind of bomb. Cooper, can we disable it? Not from here, sir. Someone needs to go down there. Hayes made his decision quickly. Prepare a landing team. We're not letting them destroy Mars just because they lost a battle. The next hour was tense as a team led by Cooper herself landed on Mars and worked to disarm the alien device. When they finally succeeded, the cheer that went up on the Defiance bridge was deafening. As the Earth fleet secured orbit around Mars, Hayes received a transmission from Earth Command. Their victory had done more than save Mars. It had proven that humanity could not only defend itself but take the fight to the enemy. Send word to all ships, Hayes ordered. The counterattack was successful, but the war isn't over. The Centauri will be back, and next time they'll be ready for our tricks. We need to be better. The crew nodded in agreement. They had won their first major victory, but everyone knew the real challenge was still to come. Ambassador Daniel Foster never expected to be sitting across from an 8-foot-tall reptilian alien, but here he was. The Arxian representative, First Speaker Krell, studied him with 4 golden eyes. Your victory against the Centauri is unprecedented, Krell said in a translator-assisted voice. Many worlds have fallen to their fleets. None have countered their shield technology so effectively. The meeting was taking place on a neutral space station near Jupiter. After humanity's successful defense of Mars, other alien species had finally reached out, some seeking allies, others assessing the threat. Earth seeks peaceful relations, Foster replied carefully, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Krell made a clicking sound that the translator identified as laughter. Peaceful relations. You destroyed 7 of their most advanced warships with weapons they considered obsolete. The galaxy has noticed. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent message. 3 more alien delegations had arrived at the station, all requesting immediate meetings with Earth's representative. Your people have changed everything, Krell explained. The Zentari Empire has dominated this sector for centuries through technological superiority. Now, every species they've threatened is reconsidering their options. Foster spent the next 12 hours in non-stop diplomatic meetings. The Arxians offered military alliance. The Proxians wanted trade agreements. The Vega Collective sought weapons technology exchange. Back on the U.S. Defiant, Captain Hayes received the diplomatic updates with mixed feelings. They're not just afraid of the Zentari anymore, he told his officers. They're afraid of us. Sir, Communications Officer Wilson cut in. We're picking up encrypted transmissions. The Zentari are mobilizing their entire fleet. 500 ships, maybe more. Foster's next meeting was with a secret Zentari defector, a junior scientist who'd fled their empire. The information she provided was troubling. Your railgun strategy hurt their pride more than their military, she explained. They've never been defeated by a primitive species before. The Empire's leadership is in chaos. The hardliners want to make an example of Earth. Hayes and Foster held an emergency conference with Earth Command. The Arxian alliance offer looked better by the minute, but accepting it would mean being drawn into a larger galactic conflict. We don't have a choice, Foster argued. The Zentari will never let us live in peace now. We need allies. The decision was made. Within hours, Earth signed its first interstellar alliance treaty with the Arxian Federation. Other species quickly followed, forming a coalition that hadn't existed in centuries. The galaxy is changing, Krell told Foster as they formalized the alliance. Your people's primitive technology proved that the Zentari aren't invincible. Now, everyone wants to know what other surprises humanity might have. Foster looked out the station's window at Jupiter's swirling clouds. Humanity had wanted to find its place among the stars. Instead, they had reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy. Tell your leaders to prepare, Krell added grimly. The Zentari won't take this lying down. The real war is about to begin. Science Officer Rachel Martinez stared at the holographic display, her eyes wide with excitement. After weeks of studying captured Zentari technology, she'd finally made the breakthrough they needed. Captain Hayes, you need to see this, she called over the comm. When Hayes arrived at the lab, Martinez was practically bouncing with energy. We've been approaching this all wrong, she explained, pulling up comparative diagrams. Instead of trying to counter their shields, we can combine our technologies. Look what happens when we integrate their energy systems with our kinetic weapons. The simulation showed a hybrid weapon system that fired energized railgun rounds. The projectiles carry both kinetic impact and an energy charge that could disrupt shields from the inside. Can we build it? Hayes asked, studying the displays. Already started. Engineer Cooper's helping modify the Defiant's main guns now. The work was interrupted by a security alert. Intruder detected in Section C, blared through the speakers. 3 Zentari infiltrators had somehow gotten aboard, headed straight for the weapons lab. Hayes drew his sidearm. Seal the lab. Protect that data. The first Zentari burst through the door, their advanced armor deflecting standard bullets. But they hadn't counted on Martinez. She grabbed a prototype of the hybrid weapon, a rifle-sized version, and fired. The energized round punched through the infiltrator's shield and armor like they weren't even there. The other 2 Zentari fell back, clearly shocked by the weapon's effectiveness. Ship security to the lab, Hayes ordered. Martinez, start uploading that data to the secure servers. Now we know it works. Within hours, the Defiant's main guns were being modified. Cooper and Martinez worked together, combining human ingenuity with alien technology in ways neither species had considered. The hard part was calibrating the energy field to work with the kinetic impact, Martinez explained to Hayes as they tested the system. But once we cracked that, everything else fell into place. The weapons test exceeded all expectations. The hybrid rounds could penetrate any known shield configuration, and the energy discharge caused cascade failures in enemy systems. But their success had a price. Word of the new weapon spread quickly through the galaxy. The Zentari Empire, already humiliated by Earth's resistance, now faced the possibility of losing their technological advantage completely. "They'll come for us with everything they have," Hayes said during the emergency briefing. "But this time, we'll be ready." Martinez looked at her creation with mixed feelings. She'd given humanity a chance against the Zentari, but she'd also escalated the war to a new level. The galaxy would never be the same. "Begin mass production," Hayes ordered, "and get these modifications to our allied ships. The Zentari are coming, and this time, we're going to show them what humanity can really do." The largest Zentari fleet ever assembled dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. 500 warships, led by their new flagship, Empire's Vengeance, filled the void with purple-tinted energy shields. Captain Hayes stood on the Defiance Bridge, now commanding not just one ship, but Earth's entire defense fleet. Beside him, representatives from 3 alien races manned auxiliary stations, proof of how much had changed. "All ships report ready," Reynolds announced. "Allied Archean and Proxian fleets in position." Earth's combined fleet numbered 300 vessels, each equipped with Martinez's hybrid weapons. They were outnumbered but not outgunned. "This is Admiral Hayes to all ships," he broadcast. "Remember your training. Remember Mars. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every world the Zentari have terrorized. Execute Battle Plan Alpha." The space between Earth and the moon erupted in chaos. The Zentari expected Earth's ships to hold back and rely on long-range attacks. Instead, Hayes ordered an aggressive push, using the moon's gravity to slingshot smaller ships into the enemy formation. "Sir, they're launching their new super weapons," Martinez called out. The Empire's Vengeance fired massive purple energy beams that could cut through multiple ships at once. But Hayes had planned for this. "Activate the resonance field." Cooper's latest invention kicked in, a field that turned the enemy's energy weapons against them. Each beam that hit an Earth ship was partially reflected back, creating feedback loops in the Zentari shields. "Formation Delta," Hayes ordered. The Earth fleet split into 5 groups, executing complex maneuvers that forced the Zentari to divide their forces. The battle reached its peak when the Defiant engaged the Empire's Vengeance directly. Both ships were massive, but the Zentari vessel was 3 times larger. "All power to forward hybrid guns," Hayes commanded. "Target their main reactor." The Defiant's new weapons fired, energized rounds punching through the flagship's supposedly impenetrable shields. The Zentari responded with everything they had, nearly overwhelming the Defiant's defenses. "Shields at 15%. Reynolds shouted. "We can't take another hit like that." "We won't have to," Hayes replied calmly. "Look." The Empire's Vengeance was breaking apart from the inside, their own power systems overloading from the hybrid weapons effects. When it finally exploded, the blast took out 20 nearby Zentari ships. The remaining Zentari fleet began to retreat, but Earth's forces pressed their advantage. By the time it was over, the Empire had lost more than half their ships. Their remaining vessels fled in disarray, their aura of invincibility shattered forever. "Damage report," Hayes called out, even as cheers erupted across the bridge. 42 Earth ships lost, Reynolds reported solemnly. "But we've won, sir. We've actually won." Hayes looked at the tactical display, showing the remaining enemy ships running away from the solar system. "Send word to Earth Command. The Zentari invasion has been stopped, but keep all ships at battle stations. Something tells me this war isn't quite over yet." The peace conference took place on Earth's new space station, Unity. Representatives from 50 alien species gathered to witness something unprecedented: the Zentari Empire signing a peace treaty. Captain Hayes, now Admiral Hayes, stood beside Ambassador Foster as the Zentari High Commander approached the signing table. The alien leader's purple scales had dulled with age, but his 4 eyes still burned with intensity. "We recognize Earth and its allies as sovereign powers," the High Commander spoke through the translator. "The Zentari Empire will withdraw from contested systems and pay reparations for damages caused." Foster signed the treaty first, followed by the High Commander. The room erupted in applause, but Hayes noticed something more significant: respect in the alien leader's eyes, not just for Earth's victory, but for how they'd won. "Your species has changed everything," an Arxian diplomat told Hayes later. "You showed the galaxy that technology alone doesn't determine superiority. It's how you use it that matters." The U.S. Defiant, now a symbol of humanity's ingenuity, was being studied by scientists from dozens of worlds. Engineer Cooper and Science Officer Martinez had become celebrities in their own right, their hybrid technology revolutionizing space warfare. "We're establishing a Galactic Defense Council," Foster announced during the celebration. "Earth will lead the technological division. Our allies believe we have a unique perspective on combining different approaches." Back on the Defiance bridge, Hayes looked at his crew, humans and aliens working side by side. Reynolds manned tactical beside an Arxian weapons officer. Martinez collaborated with Proxian scientists on new innovations. "Message from Earth Command," Communications Officer Wilson called out. "The first joint human-alien defense fleet launches next week. They want the Defiant to lead it." Hayes smiled. The galaxy had feared humanity's primitive weapons would make them vulnerable. Instead, those same weapons had forced everyone to rethink their assumptions about technology and warfare. "Prepare for departure," Hayes ordered. "We've got a lot more to teach the galaxy." As the Defiant moved away from Earth, Hayes thought about how far they'd come. Humanity hadn't just survived first contact. They'd thrived, turning their perceived weakness into their greatest strength. The stars stretched out before them, no longer filled with threats but with possibilities. The galaxy wasn't ready for humanity's battleship, and now they never would be ready for what humanity would achieve next. "Course laid in, sir," Reynolds reported. "Where to?" Hayes looked at the star map, now filled with allied worlds and new frontiers. "Everywhere, Lieutenant. We're just getting started."